Yeah, I'm blocking traffic. I'm here on the upper Pigeon River. This is the USGS stream flow gauge, and this is what I actually consulted, online. This gauge to know, hey, is this rising or falling? I think I can catch them out of that eddy, maybe. I don't know. Am I too high in this watershed for it to be smallmouth? Are they going to be trout instead? Not really sure, but I'm spot hitting. It's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I stayed up late editing video from the trip on the French Broad with Hans, with the Bonafide RVR 119. And I said, all right, I'm going to take my time getting started today, sleeping a little bit, and then go fish something. I like that bank over there. This is a whitewater section. This is, there's whitewater kayakers running shuttle. That eddy is good over there. A lot of really brightly colored, little plastic kayaks and people with helmets and dry suits like me. I'm just hitting individual spots. And the first one here is up at there's a power plant up here. And I looked it on the map and I said, yeah, there's some dead water on the upstream or just on one side of it. I'm gonna try it. Sometimes you gotta just do it. Like, pick a spot on a map, go check it out. Wow, that was a mess. Big old tree fell down. All right, see if I can catch some fish here in a minute. So I'm here at this hydroelectric dam. This actually is I'm standing in Tennessee. This is the North Carolina line is right there. I bet you I could catch them right there at the base, but I was thinking that this, when I looked at it at Google Maps, would be more backed up. And I think this might be a little bit too high gradient for it to be winter river smallmouth. I bet you they're right there, but I'm gonna keep moving further down in the watershed, see if I can find something a little bit lower gradient. I might fish a few places from the bank too. We'll see. But this isn't it. Keep looking. This is the process. Scouting, driving around, looking at Google Maps, looking at gauges. Keep looking. I may be just setting myself up for coming back tomorrow and having a full day here tomorrow, somewhere. Keep looking. All right, I'm about 10 miles out from the next place I'm checking. You can see that I've left the more mountainous area, and these are more foothills, just a lower topography. Like, it's not as dramatic. It's not like straight up on both sides, which is what I was just in on that upper section where all the whitewater rafting outfits were, and moving to lower gradient, and I'm hoping that's better smallmouth water. I'm not saying they're not up there. I'm just fairly limited in what I can do without setting up a float trip. I got to be able to put in somewhere and motor up and be able to drag up through things. I'm not dragging up through class 3s, and I don't even know. They have some 4s. There were definitely some 3s up there that I could see from the road. I bet there's a lot more fun stuff that you can't see from the road up there. But maybe not for fishing. Let's go find something that's a little bit lower gradient. That is what I'm looking for. All right, I stopped short of where I was gonna go because I'm driving along the road and I see this lower gradient in this sort of little valley that it kind of flattened out in. That looks like somewhere that a smallmouth would want to be in the winter. So there was a lot of trash here when I got here. I took a couple minutes, got a tire out of there. all this stuff, someone's fender, you know, this bag is full of stuff. There's a couple deer carcasses down there. I'm not messing with that, but having already picked up trash sometimes helps you. Someone questions, hey, what are you doing? Well, I was cleaning up trash. I saw it and thought, yeah, this might be a good place to fish. At least, I don't know, it just makes them a little bit more forgiving if that's comes into question. I did look at the Onyx. This is private. It's not posted. I know it's private though. Yeah, it's trespassing. But if you saw the amount of trash that was here, it's clearly not being monitored. Yeah, it's a couple of those down there. So I did my part to clean it up. I'm gonna drag down there, see if I can catch some smallmouth right there. All right, feel good about having cleaned up this area. I mean, there's still a lot more trash, but I think I put 20 minutes into it. Got 2 tires, a car fender that someone just left there, and all sorts of single-use beverage containers of different variety. I got it all dragged down here. Still got to set up rods. Got the Torpedo on and the battery and my tackle here. Still got some stuff to put on there. This looks right. This looks a lot like parts of the North Fork Shenandoah or parts of the Rappahannock that are good to winter fish. In fact, I bet you there's fish right here. Nice calm eddy right there. This goes up a ways. It ends right down there. I can see that's the terminus of the pool. But I drove along it and it was open like this for a while. So I'm encouraged. I really do think there's fish between there and there. So I will actually got to re-rig some baits because yesterday I had muddy water and this is not muddy water. So I got to switch over from my muddy water presentations to some clear water stuff. But I'll launch here in a minute and see if we can't catch a few. All right, I am starting finesse. I got this is the shiner colored jerk shads, and I have a little keel weighted hook that I made myself with a do it mold and a grip pin hook. You know, I still like using, and I used yesterday the finesse rigging bullets, which definitely goes nose down, tail up, and wiggles like that, like a Ned rig, with a bait fish profile. But I'm just experimenting with a more horizontal fall. I know Russ Snyder's talked about it when I filmed him at the national championship. He likes that horizontal fall. And then obviously I got my finesse jig with the bat wings. This will be my starting point. And I think I only have a little bit of, I don't have a whole lot of water to cover, and it's almost 2 o'clock. I've spent more time getting here and setting up than I'm gonna be able to fish today. I think it'll be dark by 4:45 maybe. So that's part of the deal with just scouting and checking out new water. You know, you invest a lot of time in the exploration process, and it's uncertain. Is this gonna work? I think that's the trouble most people have with it, is that they want a sure thing. No such thing as a sure thing. So I saw a fish swirling on the current seam up there, and I actually do have pretty good length of this pool to kind of pare down, and I think I want to sample it faster than I am with the jig and the scented jerk shad. So I'm gonna fish a little bit faster by fishing a jerk bait. That one? Maybe. It's pretty clear. I mean, the ghost minnow is a good clear water. I think I want the smaller one if I can find it.
got those new ones. Yeah. I don't know. Let's try that one. Pointer SP. Alright. Give that a go. Can't forget that. Yep. Crank up the stank. Crank the stank. Crank the stank. Yeah. Alright. Let's fish fast-ish for a while. They're totally on this shoreline. I'm gonna go back here. It's a good fish, whatever it is. Oh yeah, that's a smallmouth. Stay button. Stay on, you're good. Oh yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Good deal. All right, first chunker. This is a nice fish. I didn't actually bring a measuring board, but I think he's probably 17 and a half, 17 3/4. You're a good fish. You just made me very happy. I actually saw him swatting at stuff on the surface and threw it in that log jam, and you know, second cast with the jerkbait. I'm gonna stick with the jerkbait for a while because that was fun. So with jerkbaiting, it just seems like if there is a jerkbait bite and something's working, you want to hone in on how long was the pause. You obviously want to hone in on, like, where are you putting it? You know, are they on the current seam? Are they all the way at the back of the deadest part? But how long the pause is pretty critical. And I will start off, you know, with pauses like this. I mean, it's cold water. It's not all the way cold, but it's, I don't know. I don't have a gauge or have a thermometer to tell you, but it isn't more than like 51 degrees. It's probably upper 40s, I'm guessing. For me, jerk, and I do a lot of that, just reeling. And a pause that long, and then another one. How long was that? Was that 7 seconds? It's a starting point. I'm about to drift into that log there. You know, a 7-second pause for me is not that long. A lot of people would think, you know, oh my gosh, are you kidding? Like, I do rip pause and rip again, and that's, what is that, like a second? That fish hit, I don't know, I think it was like 7 or 8 seconds. So if you got to count, might help you quantify a pattern, how long to let it, you know, just drift in current. That's all it's doing. You're ripping it down and they all see it, and it's clear water. And, you know, you can for sure cover more water than you would with a jig. Okay, there's another smaller one. But again, we're looking at about a 7-second pause. So I already got it in my head. That first good one, I'd almost let the jerkbait drift into a big, deep submerged log. And that's where that fish was on. And jerk baits and heavy wood cover aren't always the best. I mean, you know, the two I got were on a shoreline eddy. The one had that deep wood. The other was just out on a current seam in what I consider somewhat safe area from snagging the jerk bait. But I keep thinking, I want to dig around in that wood, and I want to keep covering ground, moving baits if I can. Slow moving baits, but moving baits. And I'm thinking about a twin spin because you can bash into wood. You continually cover new ground, not fast because it's slow water, or it's cold water and you got to be slower. But it's still not the same time investment of letting a jig soak, you know. Obviously, if I find a place where I just boom, 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 get a bunch in a row, I'm gonna stop and pull the jig out and go back in there. But in terms of search baits, the jerk bait is a really great one, but so is a slow rolled spinnerbait. I'm thinking about it. So I do have the scented jerk shad up front here for when I get slashed at and they don't get the jerk bait. You follow it back in there. I think I had a swirl on this. I didn't feel it, but I'm looking in there and I might have saw a fish swirl on it. Sometimes you just get to feel funny. You get the jerk bait wasn't doing anything and you're like, what was that? If you're asking what that was, it's a fish like close to it, just kind of usually bumping it with a body, testing it. They just test. They bump into it, say, excuse me, are you real? Fish don't miss. They test. Oh, what did I just do? I just snagged it on my... Jeez! Okay, I'm gonna have to loosen the jerk bait. There, we got that out of the way. Alright, so this was on the scented jerk shad. And throwing it up into shoreline eddy. And he's already jumped a bunch of times. And another really nice one. Bigger than the last. Or bigger than that first one. And good golly, finding some good ones here. All right, another nice chunker. That was on the scented jerk shad in that shiner color. Similar size. I bet he's 18. I think the first one was probably 17 and a half, 17 and 3/4. That's an 18-inch fish, isn't it? It's a pretty one. And they smell so good. I love to sniff the smallmouth. I'm the Joe Biden of smallmouth. Alright. Ready? Ready? Set? I love smallmouth. There he goes. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take off, although I think I'd probably catch him on that too. This is the one I had yesterday in the on the French Broad. It didn't get any love there, but I went with the black because it was muddy water. But we got clear water here. Got a white one, and I'm gonna put just the pearl jerk shad as a trailer. And I'm just gonna root around in some of this wood on the bank, like bump into it and let it just flutter straight down and let it sit on the bottom for a second and then start it again. This is not a spinnerbait. I know you think it's a spinnerbait. It's really just a jig with these weird flashy things on it. We're gonna let that jig flutter down into that wood and see if this jig, you know, the old do-it molds, that's what it says. Spinner jig. The original, you know, spinnerbait molds from Do It. They all say spinner jig. Go to the bottom, hit bottom, bring it up, feel it go over the log, flutter back down. Repeat. I like this bank better. Slow rolling, bottom bouncing, pausing on bottom, resuming. Usually when you resume after you let a spinnerbait sit on bottom for 4 or 5 seconds, they're staring right at it. They're looking at it. They see it. And it starts moving and things flash and they gotta eat it. They gotta. So it's not every day in winter that you get the spinnerbait thing going, and I'm not giving up on it, but I'll use it for a while, go back to the jerkbait, maybe go to the jig if I find a place that I think, yeah, there's something going on here. I'll say this much about spinnerbaiting in winter. The days where it's on and they're willing to eat that moving bait, which is a pretty big meal. Man, you don't want to waste those days messing around with the jig, fishing slow all day. You know, you want to, if they're willing to chase and eat something big like a spinnerbait, you got to give it to them, because it's going to be a phenomenal day with lots of big fish if you can get them to eat it. Don't know if that's today, and you know, it could pick up later in the day where as the sun gets lower, which it's getting there, where they just turn on to moving baits a little bit more. So I've made my way all the way up to the top of this particular pool, and this much current isn't usually where I find them. You might find them in little pockets like that if they push up. If it's like a really big warming trend, they'll get up towards the head of a long pool like this. But it's where they go if they're really eating good. They'll move up to the head of these. I don't see any point in going up into this really fast stuff, so I'm going to turn around. I've sampled like a lot of water on the way up, and I got a good sense of where I think they are. Actually, I may check that. Now, that's a pretty big eddy at the top. I'll just try it once, but I think what I'm going to do, and I only got another 45 minutes of daylight, I'll work my way back down, check the spinnerbait, see if I can get that going, but really find some of those stiller, eddies on the bank with that steep bank, and really pick around in there with the sense of jerk shad. I'll still do some jerk baiting, but I think I'm coming back here tomorrow. Like, I only got 3 hours today. I'm actually driving more than I'm fishing today by the time it's all said and done. But I don't know, it's a cool pool. It's long enough. I think it's probably only 3/4 of a mile long, maybe a mile, but it's enough. They're in here. All right, this is
still up in that current, but it's one of the topmost shoreline eddies, and he likes the scented jerk shed in there. So that's, that is an example of what I'd consider something near pushed all the way up. That's an aggressive place for these fish to be. He doesn't winter there. There's too much turbulence. Like it's a place that he's only at in order to eat. Most of the winter you catch them where they're just conserving energy. This is not a good place to conserve energy. This is a good place for them to chew, to eat. He was right up in that foam. In this brush. All right, so it worked out to come down out of the mountains. I'm not far. Like, that high gradient stuff was just like right up there or a little bit to the right. Coming out into this, lower gradient section was the key. I know there's smallmouth up there in that stuff, but what I needed for single point access was a long unbroken pool, and I found that. I wasn't going to find that up there. I was going to find, here's a pocket with an eddy, here's another pool that has one eddy that has some fish. This has lots of fish. Given more than 3 hours to fish it, I think it's going to show a lot more. I don't know if I'm coming back here tomorrow. It was productive. I got two nice fish. Some other smaller ones, so I'm happy with the size, and I think that there's probably some 20+ inch fish in this pool, but I am traveling in the direction of Atlanta, and this is the wrong way, so I don't know, an hour and a half maybe, out of the way both directions. It's probably worth it. I don't know. I'll find out tomorrow. Thanks for watching.